Minute Jam.
LÖVE 2D Jam 2024 has come and gone, and wow, what a year. But let's step back a bit first. Before this jam, I had only partaken twice. In the first year, back in 2022, I made a game about a city before and after an earthquake, because the theme was earthquake. It was okay, I guess, and it earned me 21st place. Not too shabby. In the second year, the theme was connection, and magnets screamed my name, so I made a little puzzle game about a little robot who can attract and repel from magnets, and that earned me 17th place. Not so shabby either. So this year I wanted to aim for the stars. I wanted to get in the top 10. But to do that I needed to make something unique, good, nice looking, good. But first I needed to know the theme. And the theme is interface. That's quite the theme and not something I was hoping for. Brainstorming for this was quite difficult, given I also wanted to avoid working with any kind of physics, as it caused me a lot of frustration in the first two jams. I came up with a few interesting ideas, like a game where you used on-screen elements to overcome obstacles or write code to beat challenges, but in the end I ended on an idea where you're a hacker using a virtual desktop to hack people, steal money, and break things. So with an idea in hand and day one rapidly approaching, I prepared to start the jam. Oh, okay, the jam's begun. The first thing I did was very important. I made a font. Okay, everyone does this. But in all seriousness, I had to get the basic desktop working. So I got a simple taskbar in with some files, and then started working on the most important feature, the windows themselves. A lot of the first hours were dedicated to them, making them movable, resizable, giving them buttons, and making the Z ordering work correctly. It's about time I made these windows actually do something. So I started working on the file manager. I got a text input working so you could type a path, then make the file buttons so you can navigate between folders without having to type them. This was harder than it looks because I had to make it so opening files while the file manager was already open would modify that one instead of spawning a second window. There were a lot of these kinds of issues to fix in the first day, and then finally we added text files, which to be fair should have been one of the first things I made. Oh well. I spent some time making it look a little nicer, adding some small fixes and adding an image viewer, and that was about it for day one. Still no gameplay, but you know, I have 9 more days, that'll be fine. Definitely won't come back to bite me in the ass. The file system currently sucks, so the first thing I did on day 2 was make it less bad. I also worked on the desktop icons, allowing them to be in any position, and after 1.5 days I added an introduction to the game. I added behaviors so you can make opening a file do stuff like create and delete files. I did some more work on the base program so far, like adding text alignment to the text view. I also started working on the true first level, where you're trying to steal money from this guy called User 1. Very unique, and no, I never renamed him by the end of the jam. I then needed to implement an email system. I made a new window and created a simple login screen that requires an email and a password. This data is then compared with the email list in the level to find a match. It logs it, and I'll say, I f***ing dropped my b****. And if it finds a match, well, it'll log you in. And also I let you log out, even though this is never something you need to do. Then I made it so you can view emails by clicking on them. You can also have a reference email, so that kind of like reply. All of that took about 4 hours. At least it's done, and I'll never have to work on something similar. Go away. Go the f*** away. I started working on a login screen from the bank, which is basically just a copy of the login screen from the inbox. But then something terrible happened. Wow, we've made a lot of progress. I'm not really feeling this. Hey, don't worry. Nothing if you tweaks can't fit. What the fuck? So I restarted and then started working on a game about shooting targets, but it's pressing buttons instead. I made some polygon collision functions and then started adding some button types. After getting the basics in, I added some basic scoring. The more you click, the more points you get. The second element type I added was a switch. I added some new art, a background, and I worked on the look for a bit, and I have no idea where to take this. At least with the original game, I had many ideas for the levels. I wasted a lot of time on this idea and only had enough time to finish making the bank and finishing level 1. Yay! Yeah, the chapter doesn't lie. I replaced the backgrounds with something new, started adding some sound effects I made myself. And then I made the base for level 2, and that's about it for the whole day. I promise it gets interesting soon. I did start working on the newest program, Zip Crash, a virus. How does this one have the most interesting name so far? To counter this, I also added an antivirus. It is very usable. Okay, I kid. I did get the basics of the login screen done. It is, yet again, another copy of the login screen from Inbox. Okay, I'm halfway done with this jam, and the last 3 days have been half working on a different and half procrastination. Let's get some real work done. Something that people will see. So I started working on encryption, which was scrapped. I just keep shooting myself in the foot. The icon is cool though.
What the hell?
I also finally had a name for the game. You're backdooring people's computers that are in every way just a Windows ripoff. Backdoor, window, back window. I started working on more UI, like a start menu to access game settings, a level selector, and a shut down your computer or close the game. See, very, very cool. I also made the best commit. A pretty good day if you ignore the fact that I almost made no progress on the actual gameplay. It's fine, I have plenty of data. I added a few more files. That's it. Antivirus is still bare bones, so I spent a bit of time making it work. I gave it 2 security questions, which everybody loves. Aside from the fact that I was dead set on getting level 2 done, and in my defense, I actually did, and started work on the 3rd level, which is the evil guy. For those who haven't played the game, in short, some evil guy named Anonymous112 forces you to steal money from people or destroy people's computers, so for the final level, you get a hold of his computer. And that ends the 8th day on quite a high. I mean, with 2 levels down, a lot of the core gameplay is in, just a couple more graphics and some sounds, and I think it might be done. Tomorrow is the last day that I can work on my game, and so much is still wrong. Time to crack on. I fixed a few more of the bugs I was compiling and then started working on settings. I decided to keep things super simple this year. Volume and then a theme setting. Team light mode, hit me up. I did so many minor tweaks on this day, but still had enough time to make a lot of work on level 3, which at this point was still having a bit of an identity crisis. My main idea was to have this final program be some kind of quiz, where you have to solve riddles and mess with files to get to the end screen so you could delete this guy's computer or something, but I wasn't really falling in love with that idea. So instead, I decided to have a simple virus which just required the antivirus to be off and the bank account to be closed, to kind of reuse a lot of the elements we already had. One last day. No time to wait around. It's time for a speed run. I didn't like some of the rush art, so of course I decided to remake some of the icons and logos. Why is there a typo in my f***ing caption? Not crypto, however, that got scrapped. The game can be very confusing, so I started working on a how to play window that I never finished. Holy fuck, level 3 is still not done. Get the gears a turning. Let's get that final program in and work in. I got it done, and of course I added a yes or no question and a heartfelt message. Oop. I made some assets for the itch.io page, deleted to do, added some banger music. Got volume for the music in and just pushed the last few changes in. And it won't compile. Alright, imports. They suck. It's over. That was very stressful. But I was so happy when the timer ended and the rating could begin. I had fun playing through some of the submissions, a lot of good games this year. I really liked Synthesis, that was really good. What's that one about eggs? That one was pretty good. But I have to give a special shout out to my personal favorite game of the jam. Compression algorithms aren't real. I would absolutely pay for a full version of the game. But for the moment you've all been waiting for. How did I place in the jam? Well, I got 20. Wait, I got 6? But that can't be. I wasted a day. The gameplay was terrible. The art was terrible. The music was terrible. How could this be? Shut up. You did good. The moral of the story is to give things time. Sure, they may not work out in the short term, but over time, things work themselves out. And even if they don't, well, I guess there's always next year. And with that being said, goodbye.
Think fast, chuckle nuts!